Our next speaker, or our speaker rather, is Inspector Matt Jablonski. And so often when I talk to other camp directors or other folks that work in organizations similar to this, one of the things that I emphasize as being a strength of Camp Agawam, something that we truly rely on, is the whole concept of a lifer. It's someone that starts with you at a very young age, let's say 8, 9, and then is with you all the way through to staff and then sort of beyond. And we talked a little bit last night about the Agawam Council, so there really are some true lifers. And Inspector Jablonski certainly fits that mold. He was a camper for 8 summers, from his 8-year-old summer until his 15-year-old summer, the maximum possible summers you could possibly be here. He's one of those folks that really bridged that change from when Chief Garth Nelson was the director for multiple summers with Inspector Jablonski, and then changing over to me. So he's got a lot of perspective about Camp Agawam. He was on our senior club, which is our counselor and training program, for 1 summer as a 16-year-old, and he's now back as a full staff member. Inspector is originally from Massachusetts, but has recently relocated to South Carolina, but I still sort of consider him a Massachusettan, if that is appropriate. But he also has made some other changes. He started his college career at the University of Washington, but has transferred this year to Haverford. And he's one of those people that, when he was a camper, particularly a young camper, he was this big personality, and he was the cutest kid in camp, and everybody loved Inspector Jablonski. And then it can be a very hard transition, because you go from being someone who's sort of known for being cute and personable, and then suddenly you're being judged on substance and some other things, and it's not an easy transition. And sort of having watched him through that camper career, it was really neat to watch him make that transition from the cute little boy in Lower Campus to the extraordinarily well-respected 15-year-old camper. And he's continued that progress, and while this is his first year on staff, he's someone who, in my opinion, commands an awful lot of respect, and is just a really, really good guy who we love having here at camp. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome Inspector Jablonski.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Inspector.
I'd like to thank Chief for that warm introduction, Russell and Tim for completing those readings, and all who led and participated in the creation of music today. Chief mentioned my 10th summer at Agawam, but he also neglected to mention that I've not been back to Agawam since my club summer in 2013. The 2 years that have elapsed, Chief elaborated upon this a bit. My life has changed quite a bit. Since September 2013, I've attended 3 different schools and also lived in 3 different states. Moreover, I am transferring to Haverford College this fall, and therefore will be moving to a whole new environment. As a result of all the shuffling around, I felt it hard to reestablish my roots after spending 15 years in Massachusetts and also 9 summers at Agawam. Throughout the time of my life, I had little contact with others from camp, and though I always revisit my memories from Agawam, camp rarely figured heavily into my day-to-day life. I was excited to return to Agawam this summer, but I was also a little scared. I was afraid that because I hadn't been at Agawam since 2013, I wouldn't be as integrated with the community as other returning campers and counselors would be. However, the second I arrived at camp on June 3rd and was welcomed by Court May and Ace Johnston, I knew that my fears were nonsense. From that first day onwards, I felt right back at home as staff members trickled in and old friendships rekindled. The same is true for when the campers arrived. Even though the last time I spoke with Russell and Tim was in 2013, I was able to pick up right where I left off with them 3 years ago because of their willingness to engage with me and continue to strengthen our respective friendships. I've been having the best summer of my life so far, and this is in no small part due to the ease with which I reconnected with old peers. However, I've also developed several meaningful relationships with an array of incredible individuals I've yet to meet before this summer. As I reflected on how smooth my transition back into life at camp has been, I tried to understand what helped to bridge the time I missed and how we reintegrate into the camp community. To answer this question, I looked at what differentiated life at Agawam from my life outside of camp over the past 3 years. At Agawam, I feel wholesomely connected with each and every camper and counselor because of the nature of the time we spend together here. Outside, in the real world, there are so many factors that inhibit our ability to reach out to and bond with one another. At Agawam, all those inhibitors are removed, and the necessary factors to cultivate genuine connection present themselves. The most obvious difference between life at Agawam versus life at home is the lack of technology and social media. The smartphone has taken our society by storm, and it saturates so many aspects of our daily lives. Though social media has the ability to connect us in previously unimaginable ways, it also has irreversibly altered the way we socialize, perhaps in some harmful ways. Platforms like group chats and Instagram can act as imprecise replacements for real social interactions frequently, and leave voids in our lives that seem impossible to fill, since nearly everyone is on them. Additionally, the phone acts as a crutch upon which we can rely to help them through anything that feels even vaguely uncomfortable. Make awkward eye contact with somebody else? Check your phone. Conversation dies at the table and people start eating in silence? Also check your phone. At Agawam, there is no social media we can use as a surrogate for our social interactions. If you want to talk, or if you want to ask about something, you cannot just text somebody. It must be in person. If you want to show someone that you like something, you cannot double tap it and give them a notification. You must validate others in person. Nor can we use smartphones to eke us out of uncomfortable situations. At the dinner table, when conversation stalls, the table will collectively fight to find a topic that the table shares in common and connects each diner. Another aspect of Agawam that enables connection with one another is the uniformity of our day-to-day lives here. The incongruity of our daily lives outside of camp disallows us from spending extensive time with one another. Each of us attend different schools, play on different teams, and live in different homes. At camp, none of these things are a problem because we are forced to spend every waking hour with one another. We spend over 2 hours each day with a table each week, at least 90 minutes with our cabin mates, in addition to the hour we spend each night going to bed together, and countless hours with staff and campers that eat several activities. The sheer volume of the time we spend together is enough to cultivate meaningful, lifelong relationships. However, the most important factor in generating connection with one another is the way we collectively buy into the laws that govern every aspect of daily life at Agawam, the woodcraft laws. Though none of those laws are particularly complex, they come together to cultivate a special sort of reverence for the history, tradition, and spirit of Agawam. Our ability to join so many different backgrounds into a cohesive network of campers, staff, and alumni is a testament to the efficacy of those guiding laws. Each camper and staff member's willingness to abide by those laws creates a mindset of mutual respect and love for both one another and Agawam as a whole. The result is a tight, empathetic community. My first reaction to the ease with which I connected with others at Agawam was sheer appreciation. In a world that seems ever more chaotic, disenchanted, and disenfranchised, a healthy, humane community like Agawam's is incredibly relieving. But then I thought about how we may be able to capitalize on the unique opportunity afforded by these short 7 weeks. Charting the growth of relationships at Agawam seemed difficult because of how organically they seemed to develop. The blur of daily life at camp makes stopping and examining the human connections we make a truly difficult task. But sometimes slowing down and examining those relationships make them even stronger. It can be as simple as pulling someone aside and saying, "You worked really hard on the basketball court today," or grand and the 15-year-old tributes read in front of the whole camp at the end of the summer. Regardless of how it's done, moments of reflection and active appreciation for others can mean the world to those on the receiving end. It is a validation of the extensive time and effort each of us dedicate to this beautiful camp. We have only 2.5 weeks left in the camping season, and though the end of summer festivities are some of the best times we spend at Agawam, those moments of thankfulness for others we spend each day with may easily prove the most meaningful moment of our summers. There are so many special moments each summer, but actually hearing the impact we make on others and the impact others have made on ourselves is a life-affirming experience of the highest order. And to deprive ourselves of it would be to rob us of the most humanizing experience Agawam affords us all. Thank you.